So, hello, good evening, and welcome to Yoga Live at 5, Facebook, Instagram, possibly YouTube. So, welcome everybody. Hope you all had a good weekend. So I'm just looking to see where the cat's gone. And yeah, hopefully you had a good day today. The wind's been hideous, hasn't it? Gosh, I don't know what it's like where you all are, but it is really, really windy here on the south coast. Proper windy. Someone's just popped onto Facebook, not sure about Instagram at the moment, so I seem to be, am I in the wrong place for that one? No, we're all good, I think we're good to go. So who's there? Oh, hello Sonia, how are you, alright? Yeah, so let's just have a seat and then maybe get started in just a few moments, see if anyone's going to join in and what have you. So yeah. So I hope everyone's feeling good, hope you've had a good weekend, not been too disrupted by the wind. I know my poor little tomato plants are mullered, but hey ho, it is what it is. I was out there yesterday with a ball of string trying to desperately tie everything back up, so hopefully they'll recover and be okay. They've still got flowers on there, so yeah, here's hoping I might still get some tomatoes. Okay, so rather than waffling on, oh look, I just need to tell my watch that I'm going to do something. There we go. Right, so let's begin. Namaste and welcome. So as always, if I ask you to do something that doesn't feel right for your body, then just don't do it. If I hold you in a stretch longer than is comfortable for you, again, there's no need for you to stay in that stretch. I'm just guiding you, I'm not telling you you have to do something. And just being mindful of your own body and what you can and can't do with it, because I'm not there to obviously adjust you or check that you're not going to injure yourself. So just be careful, listen to your own body and what it's telling you. You'll soon know if something doesn't feel right. So yeah, so what have we got? Some kind of hip stuff tonight. Yeah, some forward folds and some standing stuff. Maybe some floor-based back bends if we have enough time. We'll have to wait and see. But we're going to begin with some breathing, some pranayama, as we always do. So just making sure that you're in a comfortable seated position, that the spine is as straight as you can get it. You can help yourself further by sitting with your back against a wall or a piece of furniture, or you can even do these sitting in a chair. So the breathing that we're going to be working with this evening, we're going to try and imagine the lungs are divided into 3 sections. So bottom third of the lung, middle third of the lung, top third of the lung. So I'll be talking you in for a few rounds and then I'm going to leave you to work with it on your own. So try and make the breath even for all 3 parts. It's kind of going to be much easier for you to work with. Although if you're not used to working with these breathing practices, they can be a little bit challenging in the beginning, but don't worry, if if you're struggling, keep practicing and you will get there. And if you feel like you are gasping for breath, then just drop the practice, allow the breath to settle, just take a few normal natural breaths, and then you can pick the practice back up if you wish to. So we're going to bring the hands into chin mudra, connecting together forefinger and thumb, extending away the other 3 fingers. So we're going to be sitting up nice and tall, crown of the head lifted. Let's close the eyes. So I'll talk you in for a few rounds and then I'll leave you to work at your own pace. So we'll take a full breath in through both nostrils this time. And then breathe out fully through both nostrils. And then breathe in the bottom third of the lungs and pause. Breathe in the middle third of the lungs and pause. Breathe in the top third of the lungs and pause. And breathe out fully. Breathe in the the bottom third of the lungs and pause. Breathe in the middle third of the lungs and pause. Breathe in the top third of the lungs and pause. And breathe out fully. Breathe in the bottom third of the lungs and pause. Breathe in the middle third of the lungs and pause. Breathe in the top third of the lungs and pause. Breathe out the top third of the lungs and pause. Breathe out the middle third of the lungs and pause. Breathe out the bottom third of the lungs and pause. And then just continue breathing in these 3/3 in and out. And then no need to rush or hurry, but the next time that you breathe out the bottom third of the lungs, you can release this pranayama. Allow the breath to settle, return to normal, release Chin Mudra with the hands, and then we can pop down onto the mat just for a short relaxation. So just coming down into Shavasana, your relaxation posture. So stretching away the legs if the lower back allows. Nice big space between the heels, allowing the feet to just flop apart. So if there's any pinching in the lower back, then bend the knees. Take the feet nice and wide, allow the knees to just fall in together. And then you can take the arms just so they're a little way away from the sides of the body, palms turned up towards the ceiling, hands nice and relaxed so the fingers are just gently curled. So if the neck allows, now you can lift the head up, look down the centre of the body, rest the head back down on the mat, and then that just tucks in the chin, lengthens the back of the neck, brings the head into alignment with the spine. And then if you haven't already done so, just gently close the eyes and enjoy a few natural spontaneous breaths here. So just checking in with the body this afternoon, see how the body feels. Any areas of stiffness or tension, try and take the awareness to those areas and ask them to relax. Maybe you don't have any areas of stiffness or tension, maybe you're feeling fine, which is good. So let's hug the knees in towards the chest, clasp the hands around the outside of the shins, then let's begin easing out the back. We're going to rock gently from side to side. So you can go over as far as you want to, keeping it nice and slow, so getting a real nice massage there across the shoulder blades, lower back, really nice, rocking, gentle movement, suitable for everyone as you're supported by the floor. And then we can begin to ease out the neck, so still rocking from side to side, but let's have the head going in one direction and knees in the other. And then we can bring the head and knees back to centre. Let's keep the knees bent, place the two hands on the kneecaps, With both knees going in the same direction, we're going to circle the knees. So keeping those circles nice and smooth and slow, and you can feel that just gently warming up the hips, lower abdomen, lower spine, and the lower sacral areas getting a nice gentle massage. And then we'll go back the other way. And then still circling the knees, but let's take them off in opposite directions now. So try and make these circles as big as is comfortable for your hips. And then we can come back to centre. Let's pop the 2 feet down on the mat now. Make sure the heels are close in towards the buttocks, and then just taking the feet so that they're hip width apart. So bringing the arms down by the sides of the body, palms facing downwards, and then we're just going to warm up the spine now with a gentle pelvic tilt. So those of you that watch my classes regularly will know how this goes, but those of you who don't, as you breathe out, round the spine, pushing the pelvis forwards. So it's only a small movement. When you breathe in, arch the spine and the pelvis tilts backwards. So breathing out, rounding the spine, push the back of the waist into the mat. And when you breathe in, arch the spine, lift the back of the waist, push down with the tailbone. So breathing out, rounding the spine, pelvis comes forwards. And breathing in, arching, pelvis tilts backwards. And then just continue in this way with your own breathing rate, as it could well be different from mine. And remember, you can have the eyes open or closed, whichever is your preference. I like to work with the eyes closed when I'm doing these gentle things, or these stretches and warm-ups. Kind of lose yourself a little bit. And I'm getting kind of used to not teaching with music as well. It's become okay. The silence is okay. And then we can release this activity with the spine, bring the spine into a neutral position. So we're going to move on now to work with the bridge and then the flowing bridge. So just remind you that you need to keep the face looking directly up in front of you when you do work with the hips raised, otherwise you could injure your neck. So if you're not sure what I'm doing, watch me do one first and then obviously join in afterwards, so that you haven't got to keep looking at your screen. The next time that you take a breath in, push down on the soles of the feet, the backs of the arms and the shoulder blades, lifting the hips up as high as you can. So you can feel that all along the front of the thighs, you can feel it in the glutes and in the muscles in the lower that support the lower spine. And then as you breathe out, just lower those hips, rolling the spine down vertebra by vertebra. So breathing in, lifting up, keeping it nice and strong. Hopefully you haven't got any socks on, just to avoid slipping. And then breathing out, just rolling smoothly down. So I just want you to do a few more of these with your own breath. And again, it's quite nice to just close the eyes, and then you just find yourself coming into the present moment. And just tuning into whereabouts you can feel the muscles working as you continue to work with these stretches and warm-ups. And the next time that you take a breath in, lift the hips up, float the arms up towards the ceiling and then take them all the way back to the wall behind you. And then when you breathe out, just lower the hips, rolling the spine down vertebra by vertebra. So breathing in, lifting up, arms up and back. And breathing out, lowering everything gently back down. So just a few more of these with your own breath. And then no need to rush or hurry, but the next time that you breathe out and lower the hips and lower the arms, you can release this activity. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together in now, nice and close in towards the body. Allow the knees to flop out to the side. And then if you wish to, you can just rest the hands on the tops of the thighs, or if that doesn't work for you, take the hands down as if you were in Shavasana, your relaxation posture. So working with supine pose goddess. And then you can just close the eyes, experience a few breaths here. So if you do place the hands on the legs, that helps to encourage the knees down a little bit further towards the ground. And then we're just going to do a few rounds of the raised pose of goddess. So again, keeping the face looking directly in front of you as opposed to the side. So if you're not sure what I'm doing, watch me first and then join in. But when you next breathe in, you're going to push down the outer edges of the feet and then come up into a raised position once again. And then when you breathe out, you can lower the hips down. So you're not going to come up as high as you did in the bridge because it's impossible. So breathing in, just lifting up. And then breathing out, rolling smoothly down. Really good for the glutes and the thighs once again. So a couple more, breathing in as you lift up. And then breathing out as you lower down. So this last one, we're going to see if we can hold it just for a few moments. But again, if it's not feeling right for you, don't hold it. And then just coming all the way back down. So separate the feet, bring the knees back up. Let's take the arms out wide at right angles to the sides of the body. So you can keep the feet on the mat. Remember, if you don't have enough space, you can just bend the elbows and take the hands, just take the arms into a right angle. So we're going to work with the spinal twist. So you can either keep the feet on the mat or you can hug the knees closer in towards the chest, if that's better for you, or maybe have a little try if you haven't tried it that way before. So the next time that you breathe out, you're just going to take the knees over to the right. They might not go all the way down, it doesn't matter. And then if the neck feels okay, you can turn the face to the left and keep breathing. You should be able to feel that along that left glute. Now ideally both the shoulders remain on the mat, but if one of them lifts, it's not the end of the world. It's likely to be the left one if it does. And then take a breath in, come all the way back to centre. As you breathe out now, take the knees all the way over to the left. And again, if the neck feels okay, you can turn the face to look down the right arm. So keep breathing. And then take a breath in, come back to centre. As you breathe out, take the knees back over to the right and turn the face to the left. And then take a breath in, come back to centre. Last one, so breathing out, take the knees over to the left, turn the face to the right. And then take a breath in, come back to centre. So let's stretch away the legs. I think I've travelled down the mat a little bit. Yes, I have. So we're going to work with some leg raises. Let's do leg raises. Excuse me. So stretching away both the legs, arms down by the sides of the body, palms facing downwards. So we're going to do 5 single leg raises with the right leg, 5 singles with the left, and then maybe 5 doubles. But if you know double leg raises are not for you for whatever reason, could be abdominal muscle problems or back problems or whatever, so if they're not for you, then you can work by hugging the knees in towards the chest and then extending the legs up to the ceiling, hug them back into the chest again. Alternatively, as you lower the legs, you can bend the knees, but that is still quite strong on the abs. So just working with whatever feels best for you, really. This is done with the breath. So the next time that we take a breath in, we're going to take the right leg up to the ceiling. So see if you can keep that leg straight and the foot flexed. And then breathing out, lower the right leg most of the way down. Try and hover a couple of inches above the ground if you can. So breath in and lift. And breathing out to lower. Breath in to lift. Breathing out to lower. Breath in to lift. Breathing out to lower. Last one on this side, breath in to lift. And breathing out to lower the right leg all the way back down to the mat. Give the legs a little bounce or a little roll. Just a point there, if you've got varicose veins, you should be rolling, not bouncing. Just thought I'd throw that in there. So we're going to move on to the left leg now. So take a breath in, take the left leg up to the ceiling. And then breathing out, lower most of the way down. Again, hovering if you can. Breath in to lift. And breathing out to lower. Breath in to lift. Breathing out to lower. Breath in to lift. Breathing out to lower. Last one, breath in to lift. And breathing out to lower the left leg all the way down. So double leg raises now, or one of the modifications or alternatives. But if you're joining me, take a breath in and take both legs up to the ceiling. And then breathing out to lower most of the way down. Breath in to lift. Breathing out to lower. Breath in to lift. Breathing out to lower. Breath in to lift. Breathing out to lower. Last one, breath in to lift. And breathing out to lower both the legs all the way down. So give the legs a little bounce or a little roll. And then we're going to hug the knees in towards the chest. Clasp the hands underneath the knees. And remember, if this isn't for you, you can rock from side to side. Otherwise, we can rock backwards and forwards a few times. It's just nice easing out the back in the other direction. And it's quite good fun. And then we can come up to a seated position. Okay, so a couple of forward folds that we haven't worked with for a little while. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, matching up the pads of the toes, the balls of the feet and the heels. So don't bring the feet too close in towards the body. So if you want to take the two hands, spread the fingers out nice and wide, and then that's going to be your rough measurement of where you should be. Where the feet should be in relation to the pubic bone. So we're going to remove the hands now, but it's not an exact science, so it's just a rough measure. So the first posture we're going to be working with, we know as the bat. So to work with the bat, we're going to drape our bat's wings over the fronts of our legs. Now I've got long arms, so I've got to move my hands from my ankles to my feet because it's just literally more comfortable. And it's worth remembering that these can be quite strong on the lower back, so just be mindful if you do have any back issues. So take a breath in, straighten the spine and lift the head. And then as you breathe out, you can draw the head down towards the feet. Now, some of you might be here, and that's fine. Working with whatever your body will allow you to do. And then we're just going to breathe.
So again, it's quite strong on the hips. You can feel it in the lower back, so just being careful. And if I stay here longer than you want to, then you come out whenever you're ready. And then from here we take a breath in, lift the head, and slowly start to come on up. Okay, so we're going to keep the feet where they are in the same position as we move on to work with the oyster. So for the oyster, we slide the forearms underneath the shins, and again bring the hands to the feet or the ankles, wherever is comfortable for you. So some of us will be able to get the elbows down, some of us won't. It depends on flexibility and also body proportions. So if you've got naturally short arms, you're going to struggle to come down onto the elbows. So that's where ideally you'd like to be, but don't worry if you're not. So take a breath in, lift the head and straighten the spine. As you breathe out, just bring the head back down towards the feet. They won't necessarily reach the feet, but they might do. And then again, still breathing, although the breathing is a little bit more constricted when you're forward folding to this degree. And again, you don't have to stay here as long as I do, it's totally up to you. And then just take a breath in, lift the head, slowly coming up. So we're going to draw the arms out from underneath us now. There's an awful lot of banging going on outside. I hope that's not, the camera's not picking that up. Anyway, I digress. So we're going to come into a little counter posture now. So stretch away the legs. Again, this is going to be a little bit tricky for you if you have problems with your wrists, but give it a try. So we're going to lean back on the hands. So at the moment I've got the fingers pointing all the way. I do apologise. Someone's just rang the doorbell. There's actually no one else to answer it. It's a delivery, they'll leave it outside. Okay, so I've got the fingers pointing away from me at the moment. And we're going to bring the feet together, and then we're just going to come up onto the hands. So coming up, making a straight line out of the body, and then lowering all the way down. So that's reverse slant board or reverse plank. Give the wrist a little shake. So those of us that are able, we're going to bring the hands behind us once again, but we're going to have the fingers pointing in the opposite direction. So this time, my fingers are pointing towards my body. And once again, coming up into a straight line, keeping those legs nice and straight. Really strong straight line, and then coming all the way back down again. So that's your counter posture for those big extreme forward bends. Once again, give the wrist a little shake. So we're now going to work with some forward bends. Now these are quite strong stretches, so you just need to be mindful. So if this is too strong, having both the legs extended, we're going to be stretching out over the right leg first of all. So what you want to do is tuck the left foot in and bring it close to the groin, and that will take the pressure off that inner thigh. And also it should help relieve any pressure on the lower back or any pinching. But you can have both the feet, both the legs extended if you prefer to work that way. It's totally up to you. So keeping the spine nice and straight, we're going to have the upper body facing out over the right leg. We'll be stretching out the right leg first. Keep those right toes pointing up towards the ceiling. So take a breath in, straighten the spine. As you breathe out, start to ease the right side of the body down towards the chest. Now remember, you might not have your chest on your thigh, and that's fine. It's not a problem. And then you can just use the breath to help you soften down into the stretch. And then take a breath in, lift the head and start to come back up to a seated position. So if you've had that left foot tucked in, untuck it now and you can tuck the right foot in. It's important that you work both the same on both sides. So making sure that you're still on the sit bones. Just bring the upper body now so it's facing out over the left leg. Have the hands resting on the left leg, left toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in, straighten the spine. Breathing out, starting to ease the left side of the chest down towards the left thigh. And then just once again allowing the breath to help you come deeper into the stretch if your body will allow you to. So maybe just taking the awareness now to wherever you can feel the stretch most. Is there any resistance there? Whereabouts is the resistance? Sometimes it's quite good to focus on these things. And then take a breath in, lift the head, slowly come on up. Okay, so a side stretch now. So if you've had that right leg tucked in, untuck it. And if you wish to work with the legs tucked in, then the left, how many times am I going to say that? Left leg will be tucked in. Right hand will come down onto the mat with the palm facing up towards the ceiling, placed just in front of the calf muscle. And if you wish to, you can just tuck that hand underneath. So now we're going to bring this left arm all the way around behind the back. So try to reach for that right hip. Then we're going to bring the right shoulder as close to the right thigh as our body will allow. And then the last thing we do is release that left hand up and across. Some of us will be able to take hold of the foot, but it's important not to drop the left shoulder. So if that means you're going to collapse into a twist, then have the arms straight. Don't worry about reaching for the foot. And then take a breath in, come all the way up to centre. So same on the other side. If you've had one leg tucked in, then you need to switch. So left hand on the mat now with the left palm facing up to the ceiling. Tuck the hand under if you wish to. Bring that right arm all the way around. Take hold of the left hip if your arm is long enough. And then we're going to bring the left shoulder down towards the left thigh. So that may be alright for you. You might want to stay there. Otherwise you can release the right arm, take it up towards the ceiling, bring it across the top of the head. If your hand reaches the foot, then great. If it doesn't, without making that right shoulder drop forward, then that's where you stay. So really strong stretched out, just really working the obliques here. And then take a breath in and come all the way back up. So untuck the leg if you've had it tucked in. Now you want both the legs extended, and remember this is a strong stretch, so if you don't go as far down as you'd like to, then just be kind to yourself. You know, it is a strong stretch. So really making sure that you're on those sit bones, because that will push the upper body forward and that will help you to keep the spine nice and straight. So we're going to have the hands resting on the mat in front of us. Breath in, straighten the spine. As you breathe out, start to walk the hands away. Now don't beat yourselves up if you can't come onto your elbows. Alright, so some of you might be here or here, and that's fine as long as you're feeling that stretch and it's not painful. If it becomes painful, that's your body's way of saying you're working me too hard. And then you can use the breath to take you in a bit deeper. So as you breathe in, lengthening the spine, lifting the head. When you breathe out, just softening down as much as your body will allow. But it's important not to bounce into these stretches. It's really important to just use the breath to soften down. So I remember 80s aerobics classes where they used to bounce into the stretch, and it's really not good for you. It's better to work slowly with the breath. And then we're going to lift the head. Start to walk the hands back in towards the body. Okay, so how are we doing for time? We're good, we're okay. Yep. Let's place the hands underneath the knees now, and we can hook the knees, bring them back in together, make our way into Madhyasana, pose of the cat. So I'm just going to tie my hair out of the way just quickly. So coming into the pose of the cat, so making sure that I'm having problems with my speech today, so making sure the weight is evenly distributed throughout the whole of the hand as opposed to just the heel of the hand. So almost making sure that the fingertips are just slightly turning white, fingers spread out nice and wide, middle finger pointing towards the top edge of the mat. And then you want the hands and hands and elbows underneath the shoulders. And then ideally the knees are underneath the hips. Take the feet so that they're knee and hip width apart. And then we're just going to warm up the spine with a bit of cat stretch and breath. So when you next breathe out, round the spine, bring the chin towards the chest. And then when you breathe in, drop the waist, lift the head, lift the tailbone. So breathing out, rounding, chin towards the chest. Breathing in, arching, head and tailbone lifted. So just a few more of these with your own breath. So really good for maintaining spine flexibility. Keeping the spine healthy is obviously very important. So many people have back problems and it's so debilitating. And then we can come into a neutral position, our flat-backed cat, and then we're going to work with our sunbird. So when you next breathe out, drop down onto the elbows and sit back on the heels. Maybe the head comes towards the mat, might not reach the mat, doesn't matter. And then when you breathe in, push back up onto the knees and bring the weight forwards. So breathing out, sit back on the heels, drop onto the elbows. And when you breathe in, come up and bring the weight forwards. So just a few more of these with your own breath. So breathing out as you sit back. And every time you breathe in, coming forwards. And then the next time that you come up on an in-breath, you can just come back to flat back cat once again. So we've got, this is going to be quite strong, so just be mindful, be careful. And I might turn around because it might make it easier for you to see what I'm doing, hopefully. So staying in our cat at the minute, but you might want to bring the knees a little bit closer together. So we're going to bring the right leg out to the side. So ideally, hopefully you can see, my right thigh is parallel to the ground. And also my foot is also at the same height as my knee. So these are quite strong. You're really going to feel this in the glutes. And then we're going to extend that right leg out to the side. Now that is really strong. I know when I teach these in my face-to-face classes, there's an awful lot of groaning going on. And then you can bring that knee back in, the foot back in. Keep that foot and knee at the same level. Try and keep the knee at a right angle to the body. And then you can lower that right knee back down to the ground. They make me quite warm, these ones. Then we're going to do the same on the left side. So we're going to take that left knee out to the side. Try and keep the knee at a right angle. It doesn't look very right angle-esque in this camera. And then extend that leg out, so the left leg out. Try and keep the leg level. The shaky leg. And then bring it back in. Keep the foot the same height as the knee. And then lower the left leg. Oh, I'm going to feel that in the morning. You can now sit back. Just bring the chest towards the thighs and just, you can feel those muscles just kind of stretching out. And maybe just take the hips from side to side a couple of times, just to stretch them out a little bit more. Should feel quite nice. Okay, so we're going to come into a little squat now. There we go. Into a little squat. So let's bring the hands into Anjali Mudra, prayer position at the heart center. And then maybe we can twist around to the right. And then come back to center. And then around to the left. And then back to center. Ooh, wibbly wobbly. Once more round to the right. And back to center. Once more round to the left. And back to center. So take the hands out in front of you now, and then we're going to come up to stand. Let's give those legs a little shake, adjust any clothing as and where necessary. Let's roll the shoulders back. So making sure now that the feet are hip width apart. And then we're going to lift all the toes up, separate them, spread them out as far as you can, as wide as you can, and then lay them all back down on the mat. So you've got a really good contact with the mat, with the whole of the foot. So from here, we're going to stand up nice and tall. Let's roll the shoulders back. Imagine the shoulder blades are melting down the spine towards each other. Then just have the hands resting gently at the sides of the body. Crown of the head is lifted. And if you wish to, you can close the eyes. Totally up to you. So really strong, very traditional Hatha yoga posture is Tadasana, your mountain pose. Just breathing normally. And then let's open the eyes if you've had them closed. Bring the hands together, interlace the fingers and just pop them on the top of the head. So as you breathe in, stretch away the backs of the hands, come up onto tiptoes. Really stretch away those hands. And then breathing out, lower the hands, lower the heels. Breath in, up onto tiptoes, stretch away the hands again. And breathing out, coming down. We'll do one more, so breath in, come up. See if we can hold the tiptoes this time. Don't worry if you can't, especially if you've got a really thick carpet, they're going to find it quite difficult. I've been teaching some classes outside and yeah, on the grass, the uneven grass, it's a little bit challenging. And then just coming down, drop the arms down. So let's take the feet nice and wide now. Going as wide as is comfortable, we're going to keep the legs straight. However, if you find it, your hamstrings are really tight, then you can have a little soft bend in the knee, but ideally the legs should be straight. So taking the feet as wide as is comfortable for you, obviously with no socks on so you don't slip. So we're going to take the hands behind the back now, interlace the fingers, roll the shoulders back, straighten the arms. Take a breath in, straighten the spine. And then as we breathe out, we're going to fold forward from the hips, coming down into a forward bend. And then we're going to stretch away the backs of the hands up towards the ceiling, or maybe slightly more than into the ceiling, as you open up across the front of the collarbone. And this can be quite tough on the tops of the arms as well. And then we're going to lower the arms. So unclasp the hands. Some of us from here will be able to come onto the elbows, but not all of us will. So again, working with your own personal point of resistance, but coming down onto the elbows if you can, and then bringing the head as close to the mat as your body will allow. A little cheat here, the wider you take your legs, the closer your head will come to the mat. And then coming back up onto the hands. And again, sometimes people won't be able to reach the ground, so again, if you have like a little bend in your knees, it might make life easier, or you can place a block underneath the hand. So we're going to bring the left hand first of all, so it's directly in line with the face, so it'll be on the floor or on the mat, and then the right hand will come and rest on the lower back. So we're going to work with a twist. So when you next breathe in, push down on that left arm, Turn the face up to the ceiling, turn the right shoulder up to the ceiling, and maybe you can extend the right arm up as well. And then we're going to lower that hand. We're going to do the same on the other side. So bringing the right hand now, so it's on the mat directly in line with the face. Left hand comes and rests on the lower back. So breathing in as you push down on that right arm. Left shoulder comes up towards the ceiling and the face as well. Finally extending the left arm straight up. And then we're going to float that arm down. So bringing both hands to the mat now, we're going to work with, it's very gentle, it looks very subtle, but in fact it's actually quite strong. So we're stretching the inner thighs now. So trying to keep the legs straight where possible, feet nice and wide, hands on the mat in front of you, and then we're stretching out the inner thigh. So we're going to tilt the hips over slightly to the right, so you should be feeling a pull on the inner left thigh. And then coming back to centre, and then take the hips over to the left, so it's the inner right thigh that's feeling it this time. And then come back to centre. We'll do one more to each side, so hips over to the right, and back to centre, and hips over to the left. And come back to centre. So have a little bend in the knees, shuffle the feet in a little way towards each other, and then have the feet so that they're pointing out towards the corners of the mat, so the feet are diagonal. Keep those knees nice and soft, tuck in the chin, slowly uncurling, coming all the way up to stand. So we're going to keep those knees bent, and maybe drop the hips a little bit lower. So let's bring the arms out at right angles to the sides of the body. Bring the fingers into chin mudra, and then we're going to lift the right heel. And then lower it back down, and then lift the left heel, and then lower it back down. We'll do one more to each side, so lift the right heel once again, and lower, and lift the left heel, and lower. You know where this is going. Both the heels lifted, and then see if we can just sink those hips down that little bit lower. So this is really, really good for the thighs. And then we can lower the arms, straighten the legs, come all the way back up to stand. So we're going to just finally, gosh, where does the time go? We're going to work with Skandasana. So keeping the feet pointed out towards the corners of the mat. Let's bend the right knee and come into almost like a half squat. So you want the left leg straight and the left toes pointing up towards the ceiling. I know there are some people that have done my classes that are like, oh, I don't like that one. And then we're going to come up and over to the other side. So right leg's extended, right toes up towards the ceiling. And then back over to the right. And then back over to the left. Okay, so coming all the way up. And then we're going to take the feet, so they're a little bit wider than hip width, and we're going to drop down into a sort of a squat. So you can come onto the tiptoes, have the arms out in front of you, and then see if you can come down to a seated position. It's a little less graceful than I would have liked, but hey, that will have to do. It's out there in the ether now. I can't take it back. So just coming into a comfortable seated position. Again, doesn't have to be cross-legged, it's however you are comfortable. And then we're going to start to circle the shoulders. So nice and big and strong. Really working those shoulders. Wonder what happened to my delivery. Hope you left it in the shed. And then back the other way.
let's relax the shoulders down now. We're going to shrug the shoulders up nice and close to the ears. Take a big breath in. And then as you let them fall away, breath in and squeeze. One more time. Let's bring the chin down to the chest. Take the chin up towards the right shoulder. Back down to the chest. Up to the left shoulder. Back down to the chest. Once more up to the right shoulder. Back down to the chest. Once more up to the left shoulder. Back down to the chest. And then we'll lift the head. Take the right ear over to the right shoulder. Bring it back to centre. Left ear to left shoulder. Back to centre. Right ear to right shoulder. Back to centre. Left ear to left shoulder. And back to centre. Turn the face all the way round to the right. Come back to centre. And all the way round to the left. And back to centre. Once more round to the right. And back to centre. Once more round to the left. And back to centre. So I'd like to invite you all now just to make your way down onto your mat for your final relaxation. So coming into your best version of Shavasana, so stretching away the legs if the lower back allows you to do so. Make sure you've got a nice big space between the heels. Allow the feet to just flop apart. So remember, any pinching in the lower back, as we did at the beginning of the session, you can bend the knees, take the feet nice and wide, allow the knees to just relax and fall in together. So arms are just resting a little way away from the sides of the body, palms turned up towards the ceiling, and the hands are relaxed so the fingers are nice and gently curled. If you wish to, you can lift the head, look down the centre of the body, and then rest the head back down on the mat. So it's just tucking in the chin, lengthening the back of the neck, bringing the head into alignment with the spine. Close the eyes if you haven't already done so. Allow the breath to settle once more. And then become aware of the breath. Just really becoming aware of the breath, where you feel the breath within the body. So it's quite possible in the lower abdomen and the belly, or the rib cage, top chest, clavicular area, definitely in the nostrils, I'm sure. And then just take the awareness now to the muscles that support the lower spine. And just imagine them softening down and relaxing, sinking into the mat. And then take your awareness to your belly button. And then just try and picture a ball of golden, beautiful, shining bright light just radiating from that area in the belly. So warming the whole of your body. And that light is travelling all the way down the legs, through the knees, through the shins, into the ankles and feet, and out through the tips of the toes. But it's not just radiating down, it's radiating up through the body, through the chest, the top chest, the neck, into the head, through the scalp, and out through the crown chakra. Through the shoulders, that beautiful golden light is radiating down the arms, through the elbows, into the lower arms, through the wrists, into the hands, and out through the fingertips. So the whole of your body is filled now with this beautiful golden light. Just try and imagine that.
so it's nearly time to end this final relaxation. So just gently starting to wake the body up at first, really small, gentle movements. So perhaps just wiggling the fingers and the toes. Or you can stay here if you wish to, but I'm going to go. And then circling the ankles and the wrists. So just waking up the joints. And then maybe you can wake up the neck, so just rolling the head from side to side a couple of times. Maybe you fancy a stretch and a yawn. And then keeping the eyes still closed, rolling over onto your preferred side and just stay there for a little bit longer. And then just making your way back up to a seated position. And so we'll finish. Om Shanti. And thank you. So thank you all once again for watching. Really grateful that you are continuing to support me. I know quite a few of you actually catch up with this at a different time, and I'm managing to get some of them onto YouTube as well. So have a lovely day tomorrow. Have a nice rest of your evening this evening, and yeah, I'll be back here at 5 o'clock tomorrow if anyone wants to join me. Thank you. Bye.